Welcome to the Uncle Jim Effect podcast. My name is Dennis Deloach, and today I'm going to be your host. Welcome and thank you for taking the time to join me. I'm so excited about this episode. There's a lot of deep meaning to this episode, and I promise you, if you'll stay with me throughout this episode, you're going to get some tremendous value, and I think you're going to be able to look at goals and risks in life a little different. And so, first of all, if you would you please subscribe and hit the button below? We've had almost 6,000 subscribers now. I'm so excited and grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that and to work with you and hopefully bring value to your life like you're bringing it to mine. Also, if you would leave comments, you can email us at Deloach, DELOACH podcast at gmail.com. And the huge announcement, we are now on Apple Podcast and Spotify. So please go to those formats and download the podcast. And every Tuesday and Friday, you'll be notified when our episodes are downloaded. So again, let's get to the podcast. This is episode number 14. And we're approaching about a week away from Christmas. And so I wanted to talk today that the title of this podcast is So You're Telling Me There's a Chance. And for many of you movie buffs out there, you'll realize that line comes from Lloyd Christmas in the classic Dumb and Dumber. And that scene is where Lloyd, who is kind of a crazy goofball, has chased down the girl of his dreams who doesn't even know he exists. And he's asking her to please be honest with him and tell him, is there a chance that a guy like him and a girl like her could get together? And actually in the movie, he says, is there any way to chance that a girl like me and a guy like you could have a chance to get together? And it's just a hilarious movie if you haven't seen it. But anyway, she basically says, no, there's not much of a chance. And he said, go ahead, give it to me. Be honest. Tell me exactly what there is. And she says, basically, it's a 1 in a million chance that somebody like me would get together with a goofball like you. And he looks into her eyes and takes a couple of seconds and he just screams in pure joy. So you're telling me there's a chance. And that's what today's podcast is about. There is a chance, probably a lot greater chance than Lloyd Christmas had to get the girl of his dreams. And we want to talk a little bit about that today. There's always a chance to do anything you want in life. I'm harping on that. I believe that with all of my soul. This is not hype. This isn't positive motivation. Once you believe it in the fiber of your being that you can do anything you set your mind to, life changes. I'm a living example of that. And the reason for this topic at this time is, like many of you, I've just seemed to, I've had a lot of death around me. And maybe it's because I'm at that age, but I've mentioned in the past, I've got a sister-in-law, a dear sister-in-law, who is literally in the hour near death with pancreatic cancer. Had a good friend of ours tragically drown, who was a competitive swimmer and surfer down in Puerto Rico. And then just yesterday, we had a close friend of ours who was in great shape, was out jogging and literally had a heart attack and passed away. Was in his early 60s. And so as I've thought about that, and again, this time of year being about a week away from Christmas, it's made me really introspective. And as I thought about that, I thought about so many things in my life and any regrets you have, and what are those things that you were afraid to chase. And so that's what I want to talk about today. Let's let the lessons we learn in life, and what I've learned this week is to be so grateful for life, literally every heartbeat we have, because you don't know. We're not guaranteed anything. So I'm going to share with you a quote by Mark Twain. And he says, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. And what that means to me is, I'm not going to look back in 20 years and say, wow, I tried this business and it just didn't quite make it. right? I think the true regrets we're going to have in life are going to be those things that we thought about, put off. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the expertise. I can't do that. So and so told me I can't do that. I've done that, or he did it and he failed and he's smarter than I am. Those things we're going to have regrets in life about are going to be the things we did not do. And so now, in this time of year where we're so introspective and thinking, and this time of year where I've had people close to me dying and suffering tragic deaths, it's made me want to reach out and really live life to the fullest and to not have any regrets as I sit back and think back on life here in the future. I had a friend of mine talking this week about how do we stay in shape and how do we prepare our bodies to keep doing those things that we enjoy doing as we get older. And he made an interesting comment to me, and he said he met with a doctor who basically said, or let me phrase that a little better. He basically told the doctor, "Hey, I want to be able to keep doing the things I'm doing and living the lifestyle I'm living into my 80s and 90s." And he said, "How do I do that?" And the doctor basically said, "Well, whatever you want to be doing in your 80s and 90s, do every day. Start today. Do those things." And so, as we get older, if we want to look back and not have regrets, then we better be doing those things today, not only in our health, in our activities and hobbies, but we better be doing those things today that we put off in life that we haven't done. And it's never too late to start anything. There's another quote I love that says, basically, you will suffer one of two pains in life: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And I love that because it says you've got a choice. And today you're either going to be disciplined, get up early, work out, eat right, get after it in that relationship, study, get a degree, start this business, learn to sing, learn Spanish, whatever it is, fill in the blank, whatever that dream or goal you have is. You are either going to suffer the pain of discipline and getting after it day by day by day, or you're going to suffer the pain of regret in a year or two or 20. You're going to look back and said, I should have done that. I had the time, I just didn't have the discipline. So my question to you is, which pain are you going to suffer? And you have to decide now. It's a simple choice. It's either the pain of discipline and getting after it and doing things now, or the pain of regret that lasts so much longer, and I think throughout eternity. So I want to talk about a couple of things. Basically, I've come up with 6 little steps that I have that I want to challenge you right now. And I'm going to challenge you to, as we enter this period of time and Christmas and the end of the year, and people start to set goals. And I've challenged you before, but I really want to challenge you to take risks and set a 10x goal. We talked before what a 10x goal is. A 10x goal is a goal that literally scares the you know what out of you, and that one in the back recesses of your mind, you think, I really don't have a chance to get that. And it's so much easier to set a goal like that and find ways to achieve it than it is to say, I just want to be 10% better, or I want a little bit more here. And we'll cover all those things in other podcasts on why that's absolutely true. So I want to talk again about these 6 things. So as we're talking about this, be thinking, what is that 10x goal that you have that scares you? Mark Twain also said, do the thing that you fear most, and the death of fear is certain. So whatever you're most afraid of, do that thing a lot and it will disappear. It's a guaranteed fact. My good friend Tom, I've talked a lot about the Navy SEAL. He talks a lot about that. Whatever you're afraid of, take it head on. In fact, I'm excited. Tom's going to be doing a podcast with us in person here the week between Christmas and New Year's. And I'm excited. I promise you're going to get so much value from him. He's a great man and someone that you just get better by being near him and listening to him. So let's get into it. Set a 10x goal. These are the 6 things or steps that I think will help you in an effort to take risks and get after it. First one, set a 10x goal. I know you've been thinking about it. There's something in the back corner of your mind that you said, man, I wish I would have at some point done that, even though I know I probably could never do that. Absolutely dig it off, get the dust off, and have the guts to set a 10x goal. Nobody can tell you what that is, but you know what it is, and set it. Write it down on paper. The second thing I'm going to challenge you to do is to declare it to the world. And I've heard people talk about that in the past. I didn't necessarily agree with it until I did it. And when I did it and declared that I was going to do that, one of the hardest trail half marathons in the country. Speaking of fear, on the edge of cliffs that were 200, 300, 400 feet, which I'm deathly afraid of. That's my biggest fear. And also at the time, I was vastly overweight and hadn't worked out and had just had heart surgery, was pre-diabetic. And I declared to the world I was going to go do that. And I'm pretty sure people that looked at me and said, oh my heavens, this isn't going to work out well. So declare it to the world. The third thing that we need to prepare for as we've declared our goal, as we announce it to the world, is to be prepared to embrace failure. It is not going to be a nice, steady climb. There were times as I prepared for that race that I literally thought, this is ridiculous. I'm going to have a heart attack. This is not good. My knees are killing me. My back hurts. This is terrible. Embrace failure and know that it's going to be that way. And in fact, if you can get in the mindset to where the more it hurts, the better it's going to be, because I know that tells me I'm on track. You've heard people talk about embrace the suck. And the suck is anything you do that's not fun or hurts or is painful. So embrace failure. Don't look at it like I knew I couldn't do it. When you set this goal and when you declare it to the world, believe me, there are failures coming down the pipe. That should tell you I'm exactly on track and right where I want to be. The fourth thing in this step or this process is going to be to let go of perfection. Quit trying to be perfect. You don't need to have things thought out perfectly and all set and nice and wrapped in a bow before you start this. Let it go. The story behind this podcast is I've always wanted to do one. And I've talked about it and talked about it. I thought, well, I'll have to wait and I'll have to get these things. And I literally just said, I've got 10 minutes. I set a timer. I didn't have the equipment. And you'll know as you go back and look at that first podcast, it wasn't all that good. But I literally hit a timer and said, I've got 10 minutes to prepare, and then I'm on. And that literally from there has catapulted me to things that have been tremendous for me. I've got tremendous feedback and response from you that it's going well and that it's changed some of your lives. And that means the world to me. So let go of perfection. Let it go. Get over yourself. You are not perfect. You're not going to be perfect. And that's okay. And the fifth thing in this process is to honor your word. When you say you're going to do something, do it. And it sounds easy, but it's true. Learn how to say no. But when you say yes to something, honor your word and follow through with it. The best thing to do in life is to learn how to say no. And you can do it with respect, and you can explain it to people and say, look, with all due respect, I would love to help you in that, or I would love to be involved with you in that endeavor or project. At this time, I just don't have the bandwidth. I'm going to circle back here, but I've got some things in my personal life I'm taking care of for my health. I'm focusing on my family. I've got some grandkids. I've got a business. All of these things I've got to take care of. But I would like to support you, but I'm going to circle back when I have time and see how that's going for you. So as we can learn how to say no, that's a big part of honoring your word. So honor your word, and the words that you speak, make sure you do. And then finally, the sixth step is never quit. If you set a goal that scares you to death, it's a 10x goal. If you declare it to the world, if you embrace failure and know that the suck is coming, that's okay. If you let go of perfection, don't wait till it's perfect. It's better to start something than it is to get it right. If you will honor the words that come out of your mouth and do what you say you're going to do, and finally, you just don't quit, you absolutely are going to achieve the goal, whether it's in a day, a week, or 10 years. It's a fact. You will achieve that 10x goal if you follow those 6 steps. Wow. This Christmas season, I wish you and your family nothing but the tremendous joys and blessings. This is a time that we think about other people. We should be thinking about our Savior or that higher power in your life, or if nothing else, just be grateful for the good life that we have. I mean, just you don't have to look around very far to see people that do not have it as good in life as you do or I do, and be grateful for all those moments. I'm so grateful for all the things in my life, and like I said earlier, there have been a lot of death in my circle of influence and family in the last week or two, but even in this last year. And I am committed to not taking things for granted. I would like to, I've got several 10X goals I'm working on. I'll share one with you. When I started this podcast, or when I said, I want to have a podcast, I did exactly what I'm telling you. And I said, what's a 10X goal? I said, 10X goal I've got is I want to have a podcast that creates value and opportunity for 1 million people to realize their God given potential. And I will be on the Ed Milet Show podcast. And by the way, if you don't know who Ed Milet is, he's got the #1 podcast in the world. I think he's got several million listeners, and he does one once a week. He's had the biggest names that you're aware of on there. And I'm not doing it for notoriety or fame. I could care less. But what I'm doing it is I wanted to test this theory of setting a 10X goal. And I said, I'll be on that podcast. And what's amazing to me is as you do things like that, I had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday who was sharing some 10X goal that he has with me. And as we were discussing this, out of nowhere, I had not shared that goal with him. Out of nowhere, as we were talking about things, he mentioned to me casually that he is an acquaintance or a friend with Ed Milet and was very familiar with what he did. And I said, what's amazing to me, I was waiting on this opportunity to happen, but just so you know, I'm going to want an introduction here one of these days because I set this goal and I showed him that I had set that goal about 4 months ago. And he laughed and said, that's how things work. So hold on. The good Lord willing, I will be on that show one of these days. Again, not for me, not for personal gain, but to fulfill that purpose and that 10X goal I have, which is to create opportunities for 1 million people to realize their God-given potential. Thank you so much. Again, go check us out on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Please subscribe to the channel below. Leave a comment, like it, and get busy getting after it. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. And have a Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.